One of them was used as medicine for 2,000 years, and the nursery still sells it today without telling you what happened when modern science finally studied it properly. One spreads entirely underground. You cannot see it moving. You will not know it has crossed your property line until your neighbor knocks on your door 3 years from now. One was on the cover of every gardening magazine in America for an entire decade. University trial gardens spent years documenting why it should not have been. All 6 are sitting on the shelves of garden centers right now, sold as beautiful, hardy, low-maintenance perennials, tagged as everything you want in a plant. None of those tags mention what I am about to tell you. I have been gardening for 40 years. I have made more mistakes than I can count, but these 6 are the ones that still cost me time, money, and sleep, because some of them are still in my garden right now, and I cannot get them out. This is the list I wish someone had handed me before I ever opened a catalog. Number 1 is the regret with the longest paper trail of any plant I have ever grown. It is in every classical garden book published between 1500 and today. Stay with me for that one. Here are 6 more perennials I deeply regret planting, starting now.
Number 6. Butterfly bush, Buddleia davidii, the pollinator magnet that is destroying native ecosystems. I planted 3 of them in 2003 because the catalog said wildlife-friendly, drought-tolerant, and fast-growing. All 3 descriptions are accurate. None of them is the most important fact about this plant. Here is what the tag never mentions. Butterfly bush produces up to 40,000 seeds per plant per season. Those seeds are viable. They disperse on the wind, and the plant that grows from those seeds in the wild produces no nutritional value for butterfly larvae whatsoever. Adult butterflies visit for nectar, but butterfly larvae, the caterpillars, need native host plants to survive. Butterfly bush draws the adults away from native plants and gives them nothing their offspring can eat. The year-by-year reality. Year 1, you have the most beautiful 6-foot flowering shrub in the neighborhood. Year 2, seedlings are appearing in the lawn and in the gravel path. Year 3, the state extension office adds your county to their invasive species watch list. Multiple states, including Oregon, Washington, and parts of the Pacific Northwest, now restrict or prohibit its sale. A viewer wrote to me recently. She said she planted 5 butterfly bushes along her back fence in 2015 and pulled every seedling she could find for 4 years. She stopped counting at 800. The alternative is native ceanothus, also called California lilac, for western gardens, or native Itea virginia for eastern ones. Both are wildlife friendly. Both produce genuine ecological benefit. Neither produces 40,000 seeds that escape your garden every autumn. The nursery calls it a pollinator garden essential. The ecologist calls it a pollinator trap. Plant native. The butterflies need more than nectar.
Number 5. Chameleon plant, Hotunia cordata, the most painted plant you will ever regret touching. The catalog photo stops every gardener cold. Heart-shaped leaves splashed with cream, pink, red, and green, sometimes 5 colors on a single leaf. In the nursery pot, it looks like something from a botanical painting. I bought 2 of them in 2008 for a shaded corner that needed color. The corner certainly got color. Here is what I did not read on the tag. The leaves smell. When you brush against them, when you pull them, when the wind moves through them, many people describe the smell as rotting fish. Others say rotten citrus. I cannot give you a better description than the viewer who wrote to me last spring. She said, "It smells like my compost bin moved into my flower bed." More critically, the underground rhizomes travel in every direction and break apart at every removal attempt. Every fragment regenerates. I have been managing my original planting for 15 years. It is still there. Glyphosate barely slows it. Oregon, Washington, and several Pacific Northwest jurisdictions list it as prohibited or restricted. Year 1, a spectacular shade ground cover. Year 3, it is colonizing the entire affected bed. Year 5, it is through the roots of everything growing nearby. Year 10, you stop planting things next to it because they disappear. The alternative for a variegated shade ground cover is Pulmonaria trevi fountain or Lamium maculatum white Nancy. Both are beautiful. Both are well behaved. Neither smells like anything except rain on soil after a dry week. The catalog shows you the first year pot. It does not show you year 10. That is the economics of the nursery trade in 4 sentences.
Number 4. Obedient plant, Physostegia virginana, the plant with the most dishonest name in American horticulture.
The name comes from a genuine quirk. The individual flowers along the spike can be pushed sideways and they stay sideways, like adjustable beads on a stem. You can rearrange them. That is the entire basis for the name obedient. The rhizomes, the underground roots, are not obedient at all. Multiple university extension services across the Midwest and Northeast classify this plant as aggressive in moist garden soil. Year 1, a beautiful 4-foot native pink flower spike that every pollinator in the neighborhood visits. Year 3, you no longer have one obedient plant. You have a 4-foot patch of obedient plant. Year 5, you have a 15-foot patch, and it is threading its rhizomes through the roots of your peonies, your roses, and everything else in the affected bed. I planted 6 of them along a fence in 2004, thinking the native plant designation meant it would stay where I put it. By 2009, I had obedient plant in 3 separate beds, none of which I had ever planted it in. If you currently have any of these in your garden, drop a comment right now with the plant. Let me know how long you have been managing it. The answers in these comments are the next video on this channel. The named variety Miss Manners is supposed to be less aggressive. Supposedly is doing real work in that sentence. Even Miss Manners spreads. The only safe placement is dry soil in a contained bed where you are willing to let it run. Anywhere else, walk past the tag, regardless of how native the plant is.
Number 3. Ribbon grass, Phalaris arundinacea picta. The variegated ornamental grass with one of the most dangerous plants in American horticulture hiding inside its family tree. The tag says ornamental, hardy, low maintenance, striking white and green striped foliage. All of that is true for about 3 years. Here is the fact the catalog never prints. Phalaris picta is a variegated form of Phalaris arundinacea, commonly known as reed canary grass. Reed canary grass is classified as one of the most aggressive wetland invasives in the United States by multiple state departments of natural resources. The ornamental variety sold at garden centers inherits most of its parents' spreading habits. Year 1, a graceful 3-foot ornamental grass that catches the wind beautifully. Year 3, it is in the lawn. Year 5, it is on the neighbor's property. Year 10, multiple studies have documented it crossing under fences into adjacent wetlands, where it is believed to revert toward the more aggressive plain-leaved form and outcompete native grasses. It is listed as invasive across multiple Great Lakes and Pacific Northwest states. I planted a 4-foot clump in 1998. By 2006, I had ribbon grass in a drainage ditch 30 feet from my original planting. By 2010, it was my neighbor's problem too.